I want to talk about the 9 to 5 grind and whether it's worth it to keep that job in 2025, or should you look elsewhere for work? You see, we all need a job to provide for ourselves, our children, if you have any pets, if you have any, to pay for your rent or your mortgage, no matter if you're paying for a 4-bedroom house or a 1-bedroom studio apartment. We all need a job. And today's economy is absolutely terrible. Back in the day, you could go maybe a week or two before you had to start looking for work again. If you were laid off, fired, or you were just looking for another job, you had that grace period. But once again, this economy is in shambles. So therefore, we need work, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to be laying out some key pointers, whether it's worth it staying at that job, or should you cut your losses and say, enough is enough. I'm going to look somewhere else for a job. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. The first key pointer I want to get into is, do they provide decent benefits? And I'm not talking about the basic health insurance packages. I'm talking about sick days, vacation time, paid vacation, paid time off. Do they pay for your move if you have to transfer to another department in another state or another city? If they have all these great benefits and they're gracious with you when you're late for like a day or two, then it might be worth it you keeping that job. Do they provide many chances for promotions? Meaning, just because someone else got promoted doesn't mean the promotion goes away. There's chances for other employees to get promoted as well. If so, it might be worth it keeping that job. Key pointer number 2. If a situation happens between you and a coworker, like an altercation or verbal altercation or something like that, how quickly does this corporation nip it in the bud? And is it a fair shake? Is it a fair deal? Meaning, you get written up and so does the coworker. Or if the coworker was at fault, they get written up and it works in your favor. If so, it might be a key indicator that you should keep that job. Because there are a lot of jobs that would just lay both people off, or they choose to rule unfairly in a situation like that. And because your coworker might have tenure, meaning they were there a lot longer than you, they'll let you go and not the coworker. So if it's a fair shake, a fair deal, both employees get written up or they get unpaid time off for an altercation in a workplace, then it's a key indicator that you should keep that job. Key indicator number 3, your supervisor is understanding if you need some time off or if you're a few minutes late. They're not so quick to want to write you up or sit you in the office with HR regarding your attendance. You see, a lot of companies, what they'll do is they'll give you a 3-strike rule, and it doesn't really mean 3 strikes. It means some people will actually give you 1 or 2 strikes, and then you're absolutely done with the company. But if your employer is patient with you, when you show up a few minutes late throughout the week, like a couple times throughout the week, they don't reprimand you in any type of way, fashion, or form, and they say, all right, I understand, you might get caught in traffic or something like that. Or if they're gracious with you when you need some time off for like a medical emergency, or because your wife is giving birth, for example, or if you lost a family member or your family member is going through a situation and you need that time off and your supervisor is understanding about that, then it's a key indicator that you should definitely keep that job, because once again, not a lot of employers are gracious to their employees regarding matters such as these. And key indicator number 4, your supervisor is taking notice of how hard you've been working and your dedication to the company, and is willing to reward you for it. You see, not many employers see the hard work and dedication employees put in on a daily basis. Not many employers are willing to reward their employees for the basic hard work they put in. It's just showing up and giving their 110%, even when they don't feel like it. So if your supervisor is willing to reward you in any way, shape, or form, like a pay raise or a promotion or paid time off or anything like that, then you should keep that job. That's a clear indicator that this is a rewarding career with career advancement, with the opportunity of career advancement, I should say. So it is worth it to keep that job. Now we're going to get into factors where you should cut your ties and keep it moving. Now, in this segment of the video, I'm going to talk about key pointers or key indicators where you know it's time to cut your losses and look elsewhere for work. But before I do, let me know in the comment section below if you enjoy this style of content and if you enjoy this style of videos. But without further ado, let's get into this next part. Key indicator that you should walk away. If your supervisor is always shadowing you, for whatever reason, you're on time, you're giving your best, you're there to help your coworkers when they need the help, yet your supervisor still finds a reason to micromanage every last thing you do. That is the first key indicator that it is time to walk away and cut your ties before things get worse. Key indicator number 2. You're never selected for the promotion, no matter how early you show up for the job, no matter how hard you work, how much dedication you give to the position, you're never selected for a promotion. Heck, even the guy who shows up late to work 5-6 days a week is given a bonus, a pay raise, or promotion. And if you notice these indicators, if you notice these signs, it's not by coincidence. They are overlooking you on purpose because either the supervisors don't like you or the coworkers don't like you for whatever reason. And it might be another reason to look elsewhere for a job. Key indicator number 3. Everyone talks around the water cooler about you. No matter how much you're there for your fellow staff or your fellow employees, no matter how early you show up to work, no matter how hard you work in your department, no one has nothing good to say about you, or they have nothing good to say about you because they simply don't like you. And before things escalate and you get into an altercation with a fellow coworker, it might be time to start looking elsewhere for work. Especially if you went to the HR department or your supervisor and they didn't handle the situation at all, or they chose to ignore your request, then that might be a definite sign to look elsewhere for work. Key indicator number 4. No matter how many times you put in a request for time off, it's consistently rejected. You see, we're human beings. We're not machines. We need rest, and a healthy break is necessary when you need it. Or you might be simply planning a vacation for you and your significant other. You might have just gotten married and you're looking to celebrate a honeymoon with your significant other. Or you might be planning a vacation with your family and friends. So if you're time off is consistently rejected and they want you to work, even though you've already let them know when you got hired, these are the days you're going to need off, and your company can't agree with that, your supervisor or your employer can't agree with that, then that's a key indicator that it's time to look elsewhere for work because, once again, they're overlooking you for a reason. And it might be best to cut your losses and get while the going's good. Now, these were just key indicators whether you should keep that job or cut your losses and look elsewhere for work. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments below. I love you guys. I thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless. Peace.